I've been asking for any questions, that way I have something to go off of and answer in the best that I can. And the question here is, how do you ease your mind at night from the dark, crippling thoughts that constantly haunt your mind and cause stress, panic, and anxiety, causing you to be continuously discouraged and unmotivated from both your dreams and your everyday tasks? It's a really deep question. Let me take these off now. So first of all, I still struggle with trying to ease my mind at night, and honestly, I have had to take some kind of sleep medication for as long as I can remember now. And I've always been too afraid to take the kind, like the prescribed kind, because I'm always afraid that I'm gonna like die in my sleep from it or something. I got a lot of anxiety. I've tried ZzzQuil and things like that, just to be able to like make myself sleep, but then the problem is the next day feeling like hungover, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but sleep medications aside, I know that they say that you're not supposed to be on your phone for like a half hour or something, whatever, before you try to sleep, but I can't do that. I just can't. So I actually have some apps on my phone. There's one, it's called Covet Fashion. I actually really like that one because it keeps my mind busy and stuff. You'd have to try it to understand, I guess, because it's like there's daily challenges, things like that. It just kind of gets my mind going somewhere else. I also have Boggle on my phone. I feel like that helps a lot too, because it makes me think, and like you're on a time frame of getting words and everything, so that's helpful for me. And I also have some coloring apps. Sometimes those honestly stress me out. Sometimes they actually are really helpful, because it's the ones where you color by number, and then you can either go through, pick a number, then a color. You can do all the same color at once. You can go through, do sections at a time. Sometimes it makes me more anxious, to be honest, but sometimes it actually does help me, and it calms me, and it gives me something else to think about. So those are just some apps that I probably should not be recommending, because I know that they do say that you're not supposed to be on your phone or using any kind of screens or anything like that. And I would say the most important thing for me is just setting the tone of the room. And they say that you're not supposed to do anything in your room except sleep. That doesn't work for me either, because I have like my own little office set up in my room, and I have this going on in my room right now. I'm not sleeping. I might be sleepwalking. I'm just kidding. But just making it your comfort zone any way you can. Like for me, it's the lighting, and I have to have the TV on. I don't usually have volume on. If I do, it's very low, and I don't even really watch it. It's just to have some kind of background thing going on. And I have a fireplace, the kind that you can change colors. You don't have to have the heat on it, but just things that I find to be somewhat calming and distracting. So those are like kind of exterior things to do. As far as easing the mind, I'm still working on that myself. But let me see the rest of the question again. How do you ease your mind at night from the dark, crippling thoughts that constantly haunt your mind and cause stress, panic, and anxiety, causing you to be continuously discouraged and unmotivated from both your dreams and your everyday tasks? Yeah. See, for me, I will be up all night thinking like, what if something happens to someone in the family or a friend? Like, what if something happens overnight? And then I'll start to think about where I'm at in my life and the next day, and wondering, will I get everything done that I need to? And it seems like by the time you're trying to sleep, that's the time where everything gets the chance to catch up with you. And that's when you start to think about your future and your past and your present, and wondering what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone the next day and the day after that, and in the future, 5 years, 10 years from now. But you can't do that. I know it's so easy to just say like, don't do that, but it's a mind over matter kind of situation. And I always hated being told that, but it really is. It's mind over matter, and You have to give yourself the permission to allow not only your body but also your mind to rest. You have to, because if you don't, it's just going to make each night get worse and worse with all of these thoughts. And it really is a matter of thinking that it's your mind versus the reality. Your mind is telling you one thing, but reality could be telling you something totally different. And the reality, of course, is the true one. Your mind is probably just making up all kind of crazy scenarios and everything. It's your imagination versus reality too. Your mind, your imagination can go just completely crazy, take over the reality. It can even convince you that the reality is something totally different than it is. It can seem like a super dark place, a place that you can't escape from, a place where you're never going to find the light. But that's not true. And that's where it comes in, where it's mind over matter. It really is. I just keep rereading this question because it's like a loaded question. Because if your thoughts are making you feel continuously discouraged and unmotivated from both your dreams and your everyday tasks, I think you need to do some soul searching, honestly. And just figure out, like, have some kind of plan of what you want to do with your life. And it doesn't have to be some kind of like big 10-year plan or anything like that. Just, it might be helpful for you to either in your phone or a physical calendar. I like physical calendars and planners. Write things down that you can cross off to get done and everything. And you just have to overcome those thoughts that are telling you, like, you're never gonna get this done, this isn't gonna happen for you, you would have already done it by now in life, you're not where you should be by now. Like, you have to block those thoughts out completely. I know how hard that is, but that's what you have to do. You have to just completely block those thoughts out and just focus on the present, what you have going for you now. It might be beneficial for you if you start to write down, like, things you're grateful for, thankful for. It might help you to write down things that you're not so grateful for too, and just whatever these thoughts are that are haunting your mind, I would suggest to write them down. For me, I'll get a notebook. Like, if it gets really bad and overwhelming, I'll take a whole notebook, like nothing in it, and I'll go through each page of the notebook. And at the top, like, I'll just start to write down, like, I'll show you, like in a notebook at the top, I'll just write down like one main thought that seems to be really dark, scary, or just a toxic thought that I shouldn't be thinking. And then on the rest of the page, I'll either just, sometimes I'll put the main thought up here. I almost like defining what that thought is and how I see that thought. And then from there, I'll read it, I'll understand it, I'll accept it. I'll even dig deeper into it and think, like, okay, why am I thinking this way? Why am I getting these dark thoughts? Why are these thoughts haunting me, especially at night when I'm trying to sleep? And then I'll even write down some of those ideas too. And that's where you can change your cognitive thinking and all that, where you can actually write down a negative thought, like on one side, and then put an arrow and then change it into a positive thought any way you can. If it's something like, I'm afraid I'm not going to get this certain task accomplished tomorrow like I need to, that's fine, write that down. And then you can even make 2 more columns and put, okay, but what if I do accomplish that task? And you can make another column and put, but what if I don't? And just explain to yourself it's okay if you don't. As long as you put forth your best effort, your best energy towards whatever needs done, that's all you really can do. You're only human, you can only do so much. And you never know how much is going to happen and get thrown at you in the day. You just don't know. And if you have like homework, school, whatever it is, it's okay to be overwhelmed. And it's okay to put forth your best effort. As long as you're putting forth your best effort, that's all that you can do. At the end of the day, that's what matters. But I know for dark, scary thoughts that happen, I would suggest definitely trying to do the journaling and try to understand where they're coming from, why you're experiencing these thoughts, why they seem to be haunting you, both your dreams and your reality. And pay attention to your dreams too, because sometimes they can try to tell you things. Your subconscious, everything can be telling you things. You just have to pay attention to it. And sometimes it's better to face it instead of trying to just block it out completely. Sometimes you should just face it and kind of dissect it and try to figure out, like, okay, where is this coming from? It could really be beneficial in your everyday life too, and your dreams, and maybe you'll start to have less dark, scary thoughts, and maybe you'll understand them more and be able to turn them into better, happy thoughts. But I would suggest that you start with the journaling. That's what works best for me. Just write everything down, and it is okay to think about it and question it and even analyze it and try to understand why you're thinking the way that you are. It can be very beneficial, seriously.